They abandoned me at an orphanage when I was 5. 23 years later, they found me again, in court. They didn't come back to be my parents. They came back for my money. My name is Michael, and for a long time, I thought abandonment was a wound that eventually scars over. I was wrong. It doesn't disappear. It waits. I was 5 years old when my biological parents left me outside a state-run orphanage with a small duffel bag and a folded note. My mother kept fixing my collar like she was buying time. My father stood a few steps away, already checked out. They told me it was temporary, that they'd be back soon. I believed them. Children always do. Weeks passed, then months. The staff stopped telling me to wait. The note disappeared into a file. The building smelled like disinfectant and overcooked vegetables. At night, I learned not to cry, because crying didn't bring anyone back. It only made you noticeable. By 8, I stopped asking questions. That's when Thomas Reynolds walked into my life. He didn't look like a hero. No dramatic entrance. No soft promises. He wore a clean suit, simple watch, and carried himself like a man who measured words carefully. He sat across from me in a quiet room and asked what I liked to read. No one had ever asked me that. 3 months later, he became my adoptive father. Thomas Reynolds was a private investor, quietly wealthy, deeply disciplined. He believed money was a tool, not an identity. Our home was elegant but restrained. Hardwood floors, curated art, silence that felt safe instead of lonely. He never pretended my past didn't exist. Some people abandon responsibility, he once said. That doesn't mean you inherit their weakness. He raised me like a son, not a charity case. I learned structure, accountability, and patience. By my 20s, I thought the story had ended. My past had no access to my present. Until Thomas died. A stroke. Sudden. Final. At the reading of the will, his attorney sat across from me with calm professionalism. Thomas had left me everything. The house, the investment accounts, trusts, art, total value, $5.5 million. I didn't celebrate. Thomas taught me that inheritance was weight, not luck. I mourned quietly and prepared myself to protect what he trusted me with. 3 weeks later, I received a legal notice. I was being sued by the people who abandoned me. My biological parents claimed they were entitled to my inheritance. They argued emotional damages, claimed they provided life, claimed my wealth existed because of them. I read the lawsuit twice. Then I exhaled. I met my lawyer the next morning in a glass office overlooking the city. She skimmed the documents and shook her head. This isn't personal, she said. It's opportunistic. That night, memories returned. The orphanage gate closing, the bag on my shoulder, the note that promised nothing. They hadn't come back because they missed me. They came back because I was profitable. Court-ordered mediation followed. I agreed. Not because I was scared, but because I wanted to look them in the eyes. They walked into the conference room dressed like people pretending they'd always belonged in my life. My biological mother cried softly on cue. My biological father stared at the table. "Oh, Michael," she said, reaching out. "We always wondered what happened to you." "You never looked," I replied calmly. Their lawyer listed demands. Half the inheritance. Monthly compensation. I listened without interrupting. Then I placed a folder on the table. Inside was a handwritten letter from Thomas. "If they ever return, it won't be for love. It will be for money. If that happens, protect yourself the way I protected you." Their expressions shifted. But I wasn't finished. I had spent weeks preparing. Thomas taught me that preparation beats emotion every time. My biological parents had continued using my identity years after abandoning me. Government benefits. Loans. Records signed in my name. Fraud. I placed a second folder on the table. "This is evidence," I said quietly. My biological father went pale. My mother stopped crying. "We just want what's fair," she whispered. I met her eyes. "What's fair," I said, "is accountability." The mediation ended immediately. 2 weeks later, the lawsuit was withdrawn. But consequences don't vanish when people retreat. The evidence didn't stay private. Investigations followed. Accounts were frozen. Charges were filed. I never testified. I didn't need to. When it was over, they were left drowning in legal trouble they couldn't escape. I moved forward. I honored Thomas by expanding his legacy, funding legal protection and education programs for adopted children aging out of care. Stability he believed every child deserved. The house is quiet now, but it feels earned. Sometimes, letters arrive asking for forgiveness, for reconciliation, for help. I don't respond. Not because I'm angry, but because some people only remember you when they think you owe them. Here's the truth they never understood. Thomas didn't leave me $5.5 million because I was abandoned. He left it to me because I was chosen, and the child they left behind. He grew into a man who knows exactly who his family is. The parents who abandoned Michael return only to claim his inheritance, and are destroyed by evidence and foresight left behind by the adoptive father who truly protected him.